Trump is, behaving like this war is pretty much over. And if it needs to take a bit longer to strangle the Iranians with the Strait of Hormuz and to keep the blockade going, he's got infinite patience. And then he suddenly, out of nowhere, overnight posted a picture of himself with a machine gun, saying if you don't do a deal, effectively he's going to go bonkers with guns again, presumably involving more military action. Again, a lot of contrarian, conflicting messages coming out of the White House and the president in particular. What do you think, Dave Smith, is actually happening here with the Iran war?
Well, I think it's not good. And I think that we're, at this point, Trump is in between a rock and a hard place. And if you remember, Pierce, about 3 weeks ago, when Donald Trump gave his, he gave a speech after the markets had closed. This was shortly before some of the more unhinged tweets and threats. And he had been signaling then that, well, essentially, he was setting it up to say, hey, listen, we don't really need the strait. Other people's stuff flows through the strait, not ours. And then he said, it'll just naturally open up. It'll be a matter of time. And other people, other countries can. He was basically signaling that we can walk away from this with Iran still having control over the strait and who passes, and other people can work that out. I think the major problem there, and this is something that Marco Rubio just said in his interview yesterday, or excuse me, on Monday, that, well, actually, we can't walk away if the status quo is Iran gets to decide who comes in and who doesn't, and Iran gets to decide what currency they're trading in. Because, Pierce, if we do that, the reality is then this is a loss unlike any other loss in American foreign policy history. Even if you count Vietnam or Afghanistan or those as losses, I mean, we didn't transform them from a relegated, sanctioned, crippled country into a global power. And if you control 20% of the world's oil, then you are, by definition, a global power. And so now he's in this terrible situation where all he can do is blockade the blockade. The Pentagon has already told Congress it would take 6 months to open it up militarily, and that would be after the war is started, not with Iran attacking us. And so now we're at a point right now, Pierce, where we really don't know how catastrophic the damage that's already being done is. In these last 2 weeks, in this ceasefire, less has been traveling through the Strait of Hormuz than at any other point. As you know, Pierce, it's 20% of the global energy oil supply. We don't know how bad the effect of this is going to be down the road and how much more of this we can put up with. So we do have to end our own blockade, but then we go back to the status quo of Iran controlling it unless they're willing to capitulate, which every single indication is that they are not. And so not only are we not achieving any of the war aims, but we've got this whole new problem, which is the major problem now, which wasn't even an issue before the war started. I mean, this whole thing is just an indefensible nightmare.